what we need for realsies is one of those clappers.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking we could just do
That's what it's for. No, that doesn't help me as much as the clapper would, because you can't hear and see it at the same time.
Yeah, we could all just clap.
No, I'm going to do it with this house DVD.
More behind the scenes at Filthy and Free.
House is in the house.
Action. Alright, so Artificer is a game that we were asked to review by the developers, which is a husband and wife team out of somewhere. I can't remember. We played it.
We did.
And, well, you guys played it.
Yeah.
I watched y'all.
I mostly played it.
Tony played it.
What'd you think?
Okay, so it had a really weak start, to be fair, but it's one of those like crafty survival games, so obviously they all have a really weak start. But it started off kind of like, this isn't really going too well for you, but when you really kind of get it and like really start to understand it, it's actually really fun.
And now, yeah.
Okay, so you have to get it right on the line.
You have to get it right on it.
Like, I legitimately started enjoying it, and like, it has a bunch of little subsystems and little things you can do to, improve your character and everything, and get more recipes. But it's all done like in different little ways, like little mini games to kind of break up the whole like, well, at least I'm not just like banging on this tree for the next 2 hours.
Well, Eric, why don't you tell people how the game starts?
Slowly. I really came into it with the mentality of you played one crafting game, you played them all. But then I saw some of the mini games for the researching, and I saw the autopsies, and I feel like that's a really redeemable quality.
Yeah.
The crafting is much more in depth than what you would assume at first glance, so it's got that going for it. They got a lot of work to do as far as sound goes. Aesthetically, it's pretty good. The animations could use work as well, but I mean, it's still an alpha, so.
It's still obviously going to be in the development
It's
phase.
important to note that there's barely any sound at all in the game. And what sound is there is played far too loud than you would think it should be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is a little jarring.
As far as I can tell, there are 4 sound effects. There's a sound for chopping wood. There is a sound for an enemy closing in.
The horror sound.
Yeah, it does like music.
The
almost.
ambient horror.
There's a sound for the tree falling.
Yeah.
And then there's a sound for mining rocks. And I can't think of another sound that I heard in the entire game.
No crickets, no ambient noise. It's just a dead silent void until you interact with something.
And from the amount of chopping trees and mining rocks that you do, those 4 sounds become very, very repetitive, very, very fast.
That's kind of the backbone of a crafting game, though. It's just it's kind of a lot of the same grindy over and over again. And I guess the sound kind of reflects that, but you could give us a little more atmosphere.
But then also I want to talk about just the aspect of like the user interface and informing you, the player, how you're supposed to play the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that could use some work.
There's no instruction whatsoever.
Very little.
Immediate spot, maybe
dedicated at pushing space, makes you do things.
Well, maybe you even treat it like any other computer game and press
all the keys.
Well,
Yeah,
no.
And see what they do.
No, just I was always taught that when you try to use a computer game, the first thing you do is like go to the options and check everything real fast. Just be like, hey, is there anything fucking? Oh, nice.
That's it.
Just right.
That's it.
It took a good 30 minutes before we had a good grasp on what was going on in the game.
Granted, I appreciate a game that doesn't hold the player's hand the whole time, but at least give us a little nudge.
Yeah.
You know, a little nudge, because there aren't not all gamers are as patient as us.
Yeah.
People aren't going to be willing to pick this up and play the first 30, 40 minutes of it before they really start picking up steam and finding those mechanics that we really found redeemable in this game and great in this game.
Yeah.
So if you're not into the crafting thing, it may not be for you. If you want something to be immersed in, give it a little while, stick with it a little bit. But that's pretty much any
Well, let's talk
crafting.
about the options menu.
Oh,
Let's talk about the massive amount of options that this game provides.
Lack thereof.
it was brightness.
That's it.
And only brightness.
I mean,
And the saving. You talk about the saving system.
well, I mean,
Well, that just goes into with the combat and everything else. You need to have a sound or some sort of tactile response on the screen to indicate that a button has been pressed,
yeah.
or an enemy has been hit, or an action has been completed. You can't just assume those things have happened.
Yeah, because like when I saved it, like it just sort of like doesn't do anything for a few seconds, and I was like, did it save? And then like I accidentally saved again, and I was like, okay, so it did save.
he stacked
and
up
then
a couple of saves.
a couple, yeah, like I think like 3 or 4,
Yeah.
like which I mean, yeah, it would be nice if there was like a click sound and then like a little indicator at the bottom said save.
Or yeah, just any kind of button that said your game has now been saved.
Or at least a number to let you know how long you've been playing.
Or a
Ooh,
timestamp.
yeah,
A timestamp
timestamp.
would
Those
be
are
super.
I love timestamps. They make me feel like I'm wasting time, but also like accomplishing time. Like when I'm playing Stardew Valley, it's like you've spent 70 hours playing it, and I'm like,
Do you remember when you accomplished time? I remember when I became a master of time and accomplished all of time
time
and acquired
master,
all knowledge.
time master Eric.
I am all things. I am the beginning and the end, the alpha and the omega. I am the bone in your centipede. I am the brightness of your menu. I am the timestamp on your save.
All right, so you want to talk about how to actually research things, the actual like the act of researching in the game, the different the actual what I would call maybe even the only quote unquote gameplay that's in the game.
The saving grace.
Yeah,
The oasis in the desert that is open world survival crafting.
Don't starve /F or / what were all the other games? Ark Survival Evolved.
Yeah, Earl Grey, which is another indie one you can find on Game Jolt.
7 Days to Die.
What was that one with the wolves? You're a wolf and you have
Siberium.
you have to get back to your little baby wolves.
I don't know.
And feed
Oh,
them.
you mean Shelter?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
The crafting.
Yeah, you get like more crafting recipes, and you get them in the form of like sort of like research papers. And whenever you put the research paper on a research like table, you use your research points that you've collected from examining things to. You get like turns on these mini games. Like one of them is kind of like memory. Another one is kind of like sort of like. You have 3 boxes and you have to like match it accordingly to like the different icons.
I really like the one with the chest where you have to unlock it with the symbols. And
that's the easiest one.
It's not as easy as the
trial
match
and error.
No, it's
a
not
match
as easy
game.
as
You
the
at least
match
have to
game.
remember.
Well, yeah, there's that.
You
There's
use
that.
your memory.
But I mean, if they just
The lock one's just like, oh nope, not
Yeah.
that one. Oh nope, not that one.
if they made
oh,
it
nope,
so
not
your,
that
your
one.
chances depleted faster, and they maybe added a timer and a sense of urgency to it, it would be better.
Yeah.
Um,
But you do kind of go through your research points like
oh yeah,
pretty
and
quickly.
that's another mechanic I wanted to touch on too. It's just like every game I play with a codex, you just kind of pick up a book or look at an item, and then you just get an entry, and that's it. This is essential to learning the world and learning the game.
Yeah.
And I like that. That's really cool. It's really engaging.
No, especially like whenever you dissect the caterpillar, you can actually read about like it's like this is
Yeah.
its biology, this is its like intestinal tract, and I was like, wow, that's
Yeah.
actually kind of cool.
If you go through
It would-
all 4 stages of it, you get to read more and more about its
Yeah.
biology, as opposed to if you mess up the first time you do it, you only get that one article.
Yeah.
So there's like that degree of, how proficient can you be right off the hitch? How proficient can you make yourself after a few autopsies?
I would like to say that it would be much better if all of the lore and the information that was given to you was actually in a legible text font,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to some weird scripty Old English font
Bad Gothic font.
that is
Yeah.
very hard on the eyes and makes it uncomfortable to read, especially when there's no paragraphs and it's all presented to you in giant blocky text breaks.
Yeah, the font could use some. That could definitely use some playing.
Oh, that'd be on a strange planet. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we could say they did.
Oh, you can drag it.
I can actually drag it.
Yeah, physically.
Do I need?
You have to physically fucking go up to it and
And I
drag the
need-
motherfucker
and I need
back
the-
with you.
Do I need the loop?
And then we found that satellite.
Oh yeah.
there was a
And,
sound.
and there was some sort of story that was trying to happen.
Yeah,
with some sort of demon woman.
Well, she's some sort of magic entity thing, and she's like, well, you crash landed on our planet. Your technology doesn't work here because magic is better than technology here, and so you have to like learn magic and equivalent exchange. And I was like, okay, so some Full Metal Alchemist stuff. That's cool. I'm rewatching that now. It's kind of relevant for me. But like, so it actually does seem to have like a story, and it's like, go to this bog and kill this thing. And I was like, okay. I mean, at least I have some direction now. So neat. So yeah.
Oh, yeah, it takes you a while to get you there. It gets you
Yeah.
there, but it takes a while.
I mean, and I don't hate that.
You know,
Like, it's
not
like
so
playing
bad.
it's like playing Stardew Valley. Like when you first start it, you're just like, fuck, what do
Oh,
I
I
do?
disagree. There's so much more instruction and
Well-
information given to you in the beginning of Stardew Valley.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, but then whenever the game is just like, and have fun, you're just like, there's a lot. What do I do now? I just want to fish today.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Well, some days you just have to take it off and go fishing.
Yeah, totally.
You
I mean,
crash
that's what I
landed
do.
on this planet. It's like Australia and everything.
Oh,
wants to
that's
murder you.
creative.
It's
That's
just
that story's never happened before. You crash landed on a planet.
I mean,
you got to get your ship back to work in order.
inhospitable planet.
Says the guy who made a game about just that.
Yeah, that's the joke.
Yeah, I don't think they do annotations anymore.
Plugs
No,
and
they
plugs
don't.
and plugs and plugs.
So, the art of the game, like, I kind of like it aesthetically because, like, at least it's got colors instead of it being like, the
A
grass is
bland brown
Yeah.
landscape.
exactly like, you have these weird like fern trees that are like pink. Cool, it's a better color than green. Like you find like algae, blooms everywhere, and there's like what looks like seaweed, and they're like orange, and I'm just like, colors. Thank you, thank God. The character stands out from everything. That's cool. I mean, there's a lot of games where you just sort of blend in, and you're just like, well, then I'm lost now. But but I do have to say, a few more like whenever like you're swinging a weapon, essentially like your pickaxe or your or your just regular axe, there's no indication of the item that you're using. It's just like,
oh yeah, there's no animations.
well,
There's no animations at all. You're moving your arm.
Yeah,
but there's an invisible weapon maybe in your hand.
And maybe like whenever you're doing,
or when you're dragging something, it's just moving along next to you as if it's on some sort of invisible skateboard.
Yeah,
it's just sliding across the ground,
kind of riding it along.
And maybe like whenever you're in combat, the whole like, you know, using a weapon with that, like maybe make the clicking a little bit less precise, because like I had to be on the monster to attack it, like that kind of.
Well, that's any kind of like CRPG.
Yeah,
you just didn't.
Well, that's what happens when you fight tiny little worms like that.
You
gotta get
bow
better.
and arrow. You got to craft throwables.
I mean, I don't know if there are.
Yeah, you had that spear.
Well, yeah, but I think you just stab with it. You don't really throw it.
That's not what you use a spear for.
It's a ranged stab.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm sure it
give you a ranged stab.
God, I mean, I'm sure it does a lot more damage than just your fist. But yeah, updating the animations to like,
not as,
but like, but yeah, updating the animations, I'd be pretty happy with that. Like, so that way I know what I'm using at the time, and again, like you said, like tactile response, where it's just like you feel like you're doing something.
Yeah, just any kind of some sort of response from the enemy, some sort of indication that you're doing damage.
Other than like the number popping over their head for a second.
Well, that could be anything, though.
Exactly, because it's normally my number.
Yeah, I was really confused actually at first, because when you get poisoned by the centipede, the number is green.
Yeah.
I thought for a second we were gaining health from something.
Yeah,
because that's what green numbers usually mean in every other video game.
Yeah, but I mean, usually if it's poison, like maybe it's like purple.
Yeah,
or
purple
like,
is
or like a weirder
poison.
color of green.
Exactly.
But yeah, that was a little funky.
The box exists for a reason. You don't have to think outside of it all the time.
Yeah, but I mean, I see where they were.
Get back inside that box, people.
I see where they were going with it, but at the same time, yeah, it did feel a little.
It's too much
off.
Getting outside the box these days. You got to crawl back in that box
with your fist and your ranged stabs.
Where'd he go?
There we go, box.
He's thinking in the box.
Get in it, Tony.
That's kind of small.
Get in the box, Tony.
Get in the box.
Get in the box, Tony.
Oh, man.
Get in the box.
Get in the box.
There we go.
Now think outside of it.
No, that's not a good idea.
Did you knock his glasses off? So, yeah. Work on the sound, work on the animations. The mini games are pretty good, kind of make it a little tougher to beat them. I'm going to give, I started out giving this one 3, but I think I'm going to move it up to about a 6 because of those redeemable qualities in the mini games. 6 out of 10 weird purple trees.
I'll agree. Like around, I'll probably give it like a 7 because I'm a sucker for lore, and whenever it starts getting into that, I was like, oh fuck yeah! So I give it a 7, but I mean, it's still room for improvement by all means. But I don't know, I still want to play some more actually. So
okay,
I want to get more of I want to get more into the beef. I want to feel the bones.
You heard it here first, folks. Tony wants the meat and feel the bones.
What about you, Chris?